Welcome. Today, you've clicked on a video that 99% of people will scroll past, but you didn't. And that already means something is different about you. Now the question is, will you just watch this video? Or will you let it change your life forever? Because what we're about to tell you is not motivation. It's not inspiration. It's real, raw, uncomfortable, and necessary. You see, from the time you're a child, the system teaches you the same formula. Go to school, get good grades, get a safe job, work hard, save money, get out of debt, invest in mutual funds, retire, then die. But ask yourself one question. Why are you saving pennies? When the top 1% are printing trillions, the world tells you to be humble, to be careful, to be patient, to not want too much. But the truth is, while you're being told to save $10, someone else just made $10 million in one day. While you're busy trying to pay off debt, someone else is buying the building you live in. While you're trying to survive, they're building empires. This is not a small gap anymore. It's a massive, unspoken, and growing canyon between the 1% and the 99%. And no one is coming to save you. You were trained to follow the crowd, to follow the 99% lifestyle, the one that looks safe but slowly kills your dreams. But here's the truth that no one tells you. The 1% do things differently. They think differently. They move differently. And if you want to live differently, you have to do what 99% are not doing. This video is not just about success, it's about freedom, identity, control, and power. It's about choosing a different life, a life that you design. And here's the bonus. While you learn this deep, life-changing truth, you're also training your English. This video is written in simple, powerful, emotional English. So as you grow mentally, you also grow linguistically. This is not just a video, it's a weapon for your mind, your voice, your future. So don't just watch this. Absorb it, live it, remember it. Because this is what they never taught you in school. And now, we begin. Stage 1. Stop following the crowd. Let's start with the most dangerous truth. If you follow what most people are doing, you will get what most people are getting. And what is that? Stress, debt, regret. Living paycheck to paycheck. Working 40 years just to retire on less than you need. But that's the trap of the 99%. They follow blindly. They never question the system. They never ask, is this really the life I want? Let me give you an example. Imagine there's a road. 10,000 people are walking in one direction. Only one person is walking the other way. Now, if you're part of the crowd, you assume the one person is lost. You assume the 10,000 are right. But what if they're all walking off a cliff and the one person is walking toward freedom? That's what happens in real life. We copy what our neighbors do, what society tells us, what everyone else on social media is doing. But the truth is, the crowd is addicted to comfort, entertainment, and distractions. The 1% is addicted to growth, challenge, and discipline. The 99% spend their time arguing online. The 1% spend their time building systems. The 99% wait for a raise. The 1% build multiple income streams. The 99% say, "One day I will." The 1% say, "Today I did." Look at any industry. Jeff Bezos created Amazon while others were shopping. Elon Musk was reading books when others were watching shows. Kobe Bryant was practicing jump shots while others were sleeping. Why? because they refuse to follow the crowd. The truth is, following the crowd is safe, but it's the safest way to stay average forever. Success requires disobedience. Excellence requires rebellion. Freedom requires questioning the rules. So here's the question for you. What are you doing right now? Just because everyone else is doing it? What belief do you follow without asking where it came from? What habit are you copying that's keeping you stuck? Because once you start thinking for yourself, you've already done what 99% are too afraid to do. And that's exactly what the next stage is about. Stage 2. Replace motivation with discipline. Let me say something uncomfortable, something that 99% of people don't want to hear. Motivation is a lie. It's a trap. It's why people start, but never finish. It's why people talk, but never act. You see, the 99% live their entire life chasing motivation. They say, I'll start when I feel ready. I'll begin the gym next week. I'll practice English tomorrow if I feel motivated. I'll work on my goals after this mood passes. And so, nothing happens. Not because they're lazy, but because they're waiting to feel something before they take action. But here's what the 1% understand. Motivation is a mood. Discipline is a decision. Motivation is like the wind. It comes, it goes. Discipline is like the engine. It keeps going even in the storm. Let me tell you about Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest basketball players in history. He didn't win because he was born with magical talent. He won because of one simple habit. He showed up daily, whether he felt like it or not. Do you know what time Kobe started his training? 4 a.m. every day. When most players were sleeping, when most people were dreaming, Kobe was already sweating. He didn't wait for motivation. He built a routine. He had a mindset. If I don't feel like doing it, that's exactly when I must do it. That's the discipline of the 1%. And guess what? The players who had more talent than him, they never reached where he did, because they depended on motivation. Let's break it down simply. Motivation is when you feel like doing something. But that feeling comes and goes. One day you're excited, the next day you're lazy. Discipline is doing it even when you don't feel like it. It's a decision, not a mood. You do it because you promised yourself. Motivation starts the journey. Discipline finishes it. If you want real success, don't wait to feel ready. Be ready no matter how you feel. That's why the 1% don't rely on motivation. They design systems, set non-negotiables, and move without asking how they feel. Let's say you want to practice English every day. Day 1, you're excited. You watch a video, learn new words. Day 2, you're tired. You skip it. Day 3, you feel guilty. You watch another video. Day 4, you say, I'll start next week. Now you're back to 0. That's how the 99% fail. But now imagine this. You decide. Every evening at 8 p.m., I will speak English for 15 minutes. No matter what. You do it when you're tired. You do it when you're sad. You do it when your mind says no. And after 30 days, your English improves. Your confidence grows. Your discipline becomes unbreakable. That's what the 1% do. They don't depend on mood. They build routines. They show up without permission. This stage is the turning point of life. It's the difference between starting and stopping, wishing and achieving, dreaming and living. The reason 99% stay stuck isn't because they're not talented. It's because they keep saying, I didn't feel like it today. I wasn't in the mood. Something came up. But the 1% say, I do it anyway. I do it because I promised myself. I do it because my future depends on it. And this is the part you must remember forever. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't want to do it, even when no one is watching, even when it's boring, even when you feel like quitting. Because your future doesn't care how you feel. It only responds to what you do. Ask yourself, what do I keep saying I'll start tomorrow? Where in my life am I waiting to feel motivated before I take action? What is one small action I can do daily, no matter what? Because once you stop chasing motivation and start building discipline, you become dangerous. You become unbreakable. You become 1%. And that's what this video is about. Stage 3. Think long, term, while others chase instant pleasure. Let me say it clearly. The 99% think only about today. The 1% think about the next 10 years. And that's why they are rich. That's why they are powerful. That's why they win silently. While others are still chasing likes, sugar, sales, dopamine, and discounts. You see, most people are addicted to quick pleasure. They want results in 7 days. They want to feel good now. They want to win instantly. But the greatest tragedy is this. People sacrifice their future just to enjoy the next 5 minutes. Imagine this. You're hungry. You have 2 choices. Make a healthy meal at home. Takes 20 minutes. Go to McDonald's. Takes 5 minutes. You choose McDonald's. It's fast, cheap, salty, tasty. But you don't see the hidden price. Tiredness, bloating, sugar crash, weight gain, health damage. That's what the 99% do. They want quick wins and long-term pain. But the 1%? They do what's hard now to live easy later. The 99% life versus the 1% life. Here's the honest, brutal difference between the two mindsets. The 99%. The 1% spend money to feel good now. Invest money to grow later. Skip work to relax. Work today to relax tomorrow. Watch Netflix to escape. Read books to evolve. Party every weekend, build every weekend, practice when they feel motivated. Practice every day, regardless of mood. Ask, what will I get this week? Ask, who will I become in 5 years? The truth is, success is slow. And that's why most people never taste it. Because it's not fun. It's not viral. It doesn't give likes. It doesn't go boom. Success starts boring. Then it becomes beautiful. Let's talk about one of the richest men in the world. Warren Buffett. Do you know how he became a billionaire? Not with speed. Not with hype. Not with overnight wins. He became rich with long-term discipline. He reads 500 pages a day. He buys companies and holds them for decades. He avoids trendy stocks. He avoids excitement. And guess what? At age 11, he bought his first stock. At age 56, he became a billionaire. It took him 45 years of reading, investing, waiting, watching. But now, he earns billions in his sleep, while the 99% are still chasing their first $1,000. Because Buffett understood this rule. If you want rewards that last forever, you must do things that feel invisible today. Let's be real. Long-term thinking is hard. Why? Because we are wired to seek immediate pleasure, quick results, fast feedback. That's why we check notifications 100 times a day. That's why people say, I'll quit if I don't see results in 1 week. That's why most people never build anything great. Their brain is stuck in today. But greatness lives in tomorrow. The person who studies English for 15 minutes daily for 1 year will speak with fluency while others are still saying, I'll start tomorrow. The person who builds one side business every evening will be financially free in 5 years while others are still waiting for a promotion. The person who reads one book a month will be 12 books smarter every year while others are just scrolling. How the 1% build their future. They create compound habits. 1% improvement daily equals 37 times better in a year. They delay pleasure for power. They skip Netflix now to build skills that make $10,000 later. They think in decades, not days. They ask, what will this habit do for me in 10 years? They trust the invisible work. They don't need applause. They need results. If you truly want to escape the 99%, stop asking, how fast will I succeed? Start asking, how far can I go if I keep showing up daily? Make peace with being slow but consistent, because speed without direction equals disaster. Write down your goals for the next 3 years, not just this week. Train your brain to see further. Trust your boring habits. They're planting seeds that the 99% can't even see. The 99% chase pleasure and pain. The 1% embrace pain and receive power. If you can wait longer than others, stay consistent when results are invisible, and think in decades instead of days. Then you will do what 99% can't even imagine. And that's how you break free. Stage 4. Use your evenings wisely. While others waste them silently. Let me ask you something very personal. What do you do between 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. every night? Because I'll tell you the truth that 99% of people never realize. Your evenings are either building your future or destroying it. Slowly, silently, and permanently. The 99% evening routine? For most people, the day goes like this. Wake up tired, go to work or school, come home exhausted, eat something quick, open the phone, start scrolling, check WhatsApp, Instagram, YouTube, watch a few reels, maybe an episode, then another, order food, procrastinate on their dreams, feel guilty, go to bed, wake up, and repeat. And then one day they ask, why is nothing changing in my life? The answer is simple but painful. And because you're giving your most valuable time to the most useless habits. Here's what people forget. Evenings are your second life, hidden inside your first one. Let me explain. Your job, your college, your family, they take your daytime. But your evenings, they are yours. And what you do in those 4 to 5 hours each night will either make you 1% richer, smarter, healthier, or keep you stuck in the same cycle for the next 10 years. Let's take 2 people, same age, same job, same salary, same city. Person A, the 99%. Evening comes home, eats junk food, scrolls Instagram, watches YouTube shorts, watches 1 episode of a show, then 2, then 3, says, I'll start tomorrow. Sleeps at 1 a.m., repeats the cycle. Person B, the 1%. Evening comes home, freshens up, eats healthy, spends 30 minutes reading, learns a new skill online, practices English aloud, writes a journal entry, plans tomorrow, sleeps by 10:30 p.m. Now pause. Fast forward 1 year. They both live the same days, but one is now fluent in English, healthier, smarter, more confident, and building a better life. While the other, still stuck, still tired, still confused, still scrolling. Why? Because of how they spent their evenings. The 99% don't waste evenings because they're lazy. They waste them because they're mentally tired. But they don't realize rest is not scrolling. Rest is recovery. They say, I deserve a break. But they don't understand. A break that breaks your future is not a reward. It's a trap. They think they'll change tomorrow, but every tomorrow becomes another wasted today. The 1% protect their evenings like a sacred ritual, because they know your mornings belong to the world, your evenings belong to you, and what you do in that time decides everything. The 1% use evenings to build side income, learn languages, read books, build websites, work out, build their mind, plan their week, reflect, recover, prepare. They use evenings to become dangerous in silence. So while the world thinks they're relaxing, they're actually building weapons of growth. Right now, ask yourself this: what did I do last night between 7 p.m. and 11 p.m.? Did it bring me closer to the life I want? Or did it just entertain me while my dreams were waiting? And now ask, what if I gave just 1 hour every evening to practicing English, reading one chapter, writing my goals, watching educational content, learning a skill? Where would I be 1 year from now? It's not your full day that shapes your future. It's your forgotten evenings. Here's how to turn your evening into your advantage. Set a rule. No phone scrolling after 7 p.m. Create a ritual. 1 hour of growth activity every evening. Have a station, a corner where you read, write, or create. Protect the time. Treat it like a meeting with your future self. Track it. Journal what you did every evening. Don't lie to yourself. Your evening is the most powerful part of your day. Don't donate it to distractions. Don't waste it on things that don't serve your dreams. Don't trade it for cheap pleasure. Because a man who uses his evenings wisely will live a life that others can only admire from a distance. And that's how you separate yourself from the 99%. Silently, slowly, forever. Stage 5. Study obsessively. While others stay entertained. Let me ask you this honestly. When was the last time you studied for yourself, not for school, not for a test, but for your future, your growth, your life? The truth is, the 99% stop learning after school. They think education ends at graduation. But the 1%? They never stop. Because they know school gives you a job. Self-education gives you freedom. Most people today are drowning in content. YouTube videos, Reels, TikToks, viral gossip, celebrity interviews, reaction videos, podcasts about drama, gaming live streams, shorts. They spend 4 to 6 hours a day consuming, but they call it relaxing. Here's the brutal truth. If you're consuming more than you're learning, you're not relaxing, you're rotting. The 1% learn like their life depends on it. Let's talk about Elon Musk. He didn't build Tesla and SpaceX by watching funny cat videos. He once said, "I taught myself rocket science by reading books." Yes, rocket science. He read physics textbooks for fun. While the 99% were watching Netflix, Elon was reading manuals. While the 99% were sharing memes, Elon was designing the future. That's the difference. The 99% want entertainment. The 1% want elevation. Let me give you a simple but shocking equation. Read just 10 pages a day. That's 3,650 pages a year. That's 18 full books. That's more than most people read in their entire adult life. Now imagine this. 1 year from now, you've read 3 books on money, 3 on mindset, 3 on health, 3 on English, 3 on relationships, 3 on productivity, 3 on entrepreneurship. That's not just book knowledge. That's a completely new brain. And guess what? You'll now think like the 1%, while others are still searching motivation video every morning. What the 1% study? They study skills that make money, copywriting, digital marketing, video editing, psychology to understand how humans think, health to live longer, not just look better, wealth, not just how to make it, but how to keep it, communication, because without it, no one listens, English, not as a subject, but as a global weapon, their own mind, journaling, reflection, feedback. They don't study for exams, they study for evolution. Let's say you scroll Instagram for 2 hours every day. Now switch that. Spend 30 minutes reading a book, 30 minutes learning a new word, grammar, or speaking English aloud, 30 minutes listening to a podcast about success, 30 minutes writing your ideas or goals. Do this daily. In 30 days, your brain becomes sharp like a sword. In 90 days, people ask, "What happened to you?" In 1 year, you won't recognize the old you. What you can do right now: create a learning list, 5 books or topics you want to master. Design a learning hour, every day at the same time. Track what you study. Write what you learned, even one line. Protect your brain. If it doesn't teach you, don't touch it. The 99% fill their brain with distractions. The 1% fill it with directions. Because in a world full of noise, the one who studies in silence will control the ones who scroll in chaos. Stage 6. Take calculated risks. While others fear failure. Now let's enter the most uncomfortable, most powerful truth yet. This stage is not about books, not about time, not about discipline. This is about courage. The kind of courage the 99% avoid, and the 1% build empires with. Let's face it, most people are terrified of failing in front of others, starting something and looking stupid, investing money and losing it, taking action without guarantees, being laughed at for trying. And so, what do? They choose safe. They choose familiar. They stay in their comfort zones for decades. And by the time they realize it, they've spent 30 years building someone else's dream, not their own. That's the real failure. The 1% take calculated risks. Notice this: not wild risks, not dumb risks. Calculated risks, risks that are scary, but necessary. Risks that say, I may fall, but if I succeed, I'll never have to settle again. Let me give you a real example. In 1994, Jeff Bezos was a vice president at a Wall Street firm. Safe job, good salary, big future. But he had an idea: an online bookstore. Back then, no one believed in online shopping. There was no Amazon, no Prime, no one-click orders. It was a crazy idea. And quitting his safe job to build it? Even crazier. But he did one thing that changed everything. He asked himself this question: when I'm 80 years old, will I regret not trying this? And the answer was yes. So he took the risk, started Amazon from his garage, and became the richest man in the world. That's the 1% mindset. They don't avoid fear. They walk through it. Why 99% miss the big opportunities? Because they wait for perfect timing, wait for everyone to support them, wait for more confidence, wait until they know everything. But here's the truth: confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after. Small risks you can take. Right now, speak English in public, even if your grammar isn't perfect. Start a side hustle, even if it only earns $1 at first. Post your ideas, even if you're afraid of judgment. Message someone who inspires you. Learn a new skill, even if it's hard at first. Because every risk you avoid is a result you'll never receive. The 99% fear falling. The 1% fear standing still. They don't ask, what if I fail? They ask, what if I never try? Because one small risk can open one massive door, and behind that door is the life the 99% will never see. Stage 7. Guard your attention, while others give it away for free. Let me tell you a scary truth. It's not your money they want. It's not your data. It's not even your time. It's your attention. Because once they control your attention, they control your mind, your habits, your future. You may not realize this, but right now, you are in a war for your focus. Billions of dollars are being spent on one mission: to steal your attention and never give it back. Every app, every notification, every thumbnail, every scroll, every ding, every reel, all designed to trap your brain in a loop you can't escape. They study your behavior. They track your emotions. They know when you're sad, tired, insecure. And that's when they attack. Most people wake up and grab their phone before they even stand up. They check Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, emails, news, stories, reels, comments, notifications, and the moment their eyes open, their mind is gone. Their attention is no longer theirs. It belongs to algorithms, to companies, to advertisers, to other people's lives. They don't even realize that. The moment they scroll, their focus starts to bleed. What happens when you give away your attention? You lose control of your emotions. You forget your own goals. You compare yourself to fake lives. You lose hours without realizing it. You can't stay present with your family, your dreams, or your own thoughts. And worst of all, you can no longer focus long enough to change your life. Your brain becomes addicted to quick hits, quick jokes, quick videos, quick dopamine. And now you can't. Read a full book, watch a long video, practice English for 30 minutes. Sit quietly with your thoughts. Your attention span has been murdered. And with it, your ability to grow. The 1% understand this simple rule. What you focus on expands, and what you ignore dies. So they make sure they focus on their skills, their goals, their ideas, their daily plan, their learning, their purpose, their peace. And they block everything else. They use apps that block distractions. They check social media only at fixed times. They start their day with quiet, not chaos. They read books, not just reels. They invest attention, not just spend it. Because they know a distracted mind can never build a focused life. Do you know why Steve Jobs wore the same black turtleneck every day? Because he didn't want to waste attention on small decisions. He wanted to save his focus for big things, like designing the iPhone. He simplified his life so his brain stayed clear, focused, sharp, untouchable. That's what the 1% do. They don't let the world hijack their mind. They build a mind fortress and only let in what matters. What you can do right now to guard your attention. Delete 3 apps you don't need but open every day. Set 2 hours of no screen time every morning or night. Turn off all notifications except the essentials. Track your screen time daily, no lies. Start your day without your phone, at least 30 minutes. Invest attention into your growth. English learning, skill building, reading, journaling. Because once you control your attention, you control your world. The 99% sell their attention cheap and wonder why life feels messy. The 1% protect their attention like diamonds, and that's why they shine. Stage 8. Say no to mediocrity. while others settle for less. Now we enter one of the deepest and most emotional truths of this entire video. This is not about time or money or discipline. This is about standards and how the 99% have lowered theirs so far. They no longer remember who they are. Let me ask you this. How many people do you know who are unhappy in their job, but stay anyway? How many people are in toxic relationships, but stay anyway? How many people say they'll start improving next year, but never do? The answer? Most people. Because most people are not lazy. They're not weak. They're just numb. And numbness creates mediocrity. They say, it's not that bad. At least I have something. I should be grateful. Who am I to expect more? And that's how dreams die quietly. Not with a bang, but with a long, slow, silent settling. The 1% do not settle. They don't say good enough. They don't accept average. They don't allow mediocrity in their work, their thoughts, or their circle. They say, if I'm still breathing, I'm still growing. If I can speak better, live better, think better, I will. I don't care what the world accepts. I only care what I'm becoming. They have standards that others call crazy. But guess what? Those crazy standards create extraordinary results. Example. Michael Jordan wasn't just a basketball player. He was an obsession. He pushed his teammates so hard. Some of them hated him. He trained longer, pushed harder, and refused to settle. Why? Because he had one rule. If you want to win, you don't accept average. Ever. And that mindset made him a legend. Not because he had better genetics, but because he had zero tolerance for mediocrity. What does saying no to mediocrity look like? It looks like not accepting your bad habits just because others have them. Not speaking broken English forever when you can improve every day. Not hanging out with lazy friends just because they're fun. Not working at a job you hate forever when you can build a better path. Not watching 6 hours of garbage content and calling it entertainment. It means looking in the mirror and saying, I am better than this. And I will prove it. To myself, what you can do. Right now? Write down 3 areas where you've been accepting just okay. List the excuses you've used to justify them. Set one new standard today. Just one. Example. No more skipping English practice. No more scrolling past midnight. No more hanging with people who drain your energy. You don't need to become perfect today. But you must stop accepting barely enough. The 99% are not defeated by failure. They're destroyed by comfort. And every time you say, it's okay, you give up the life that was waiting for you. So say no to mediocrity. Say no to average. Say no to the voice that says, you're doing fine. Because you're not here to live a life that's just fine. You're here to live a life that's on fire. Stage 9. Act daily without excuses. While others wait for the right time. Let me ask you this one question. And be honest. How many things have you wanted to do, but you're still waiting to start? Maybe it's starting your YouTube channel, learning to speak English fluently, losing weight, starting a business, writing a book, fixing your health, quitting a toxic habit, leaving a toxic person. And you keep saying, soon, next week, after I feel ready, once things calm down, I'll start fresh next month. But here's the truth. There is no perfect time. There is only now, and the lie you tell yourself to escape it. The 99% are trapped in tomorrow. Most people don't live their life. They just plan to live it later. They treat their goals like a rainy day savings fund. Someday, I'll take action. but someday becomes never. They don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they wait. And while they're waiting, time is passing. Energy is fading. Dreams are drying. The 1% live by one rule. Do it anyway. The 1% don't wait to feel ready. They don't wait for the moon to align. They don't wait for permission. They take action when they're scared, they're confused, they're tired, they're not in the mood. Because they know. If you can only take action when conditions are perfect, you'll never take action. Let's say your goal is to build a wall, a huge, strong, unbreakable wall. Most people say, that's too much. It'll take forever. I don't have the time right now. So they wait, and nothing gets built. But the 1%? They lay one brick per day, just one. Even when tired, even when lazy, even when no one sees it. And 1 year later, they're standing in front of a wall they built in silence. That's how your English improves. That's how your body changes. That's how businesses are built. That's how habits are formed. One action, every day, no excuses. Because excuses protect our comfort. Excuses let us believe. It's not my fault. It's not the right time. I'm not ready yet. But here's the truth. Excuses are lies, and every time you repeat them, you lose a piece of your future. What you can do right now. Write down one thing you've been waiting to start. Write down every excuse you've used. Cross them out. Do one tiny action today. 10 push-ups. 10 English sentences. 10 minutes of reading. 10 ideas for your dream. Don't make it big, just make it done. Because the only thing worse than failing is not even starting. The 99% wait for the right mood, the right moment, the right month. The 1% move in silence and act before they're ready. Because you don't need a better plan. You need a stronger promise to yourself. And that's how you rise above the crowd. Stage 10. Become who you were born to be. While others die as a version they settled for. This is not just a stage. This is a reality check. This is the mirror you've been avoiding. This is the question that will haunt you. Or heal you. Will you die as the real you? Or just a version the world created for you? Let me say something hard, but true. Most people will die without ever becoming the person they were meant to be. They will. Work jobs they hate. Stay in relationships that drain them. Silence their creativity. Bury their gifts. Live by rules they never chose. Obey systems they never questioned. They will live a quiet life of survival and die with dreams still burning inside. And the worst part? They will think that's normal because everyone around them did the same. The 1% look in the mirror and ask, is this really me? Or just who I've become because I was scared? They don't want to die with potential inside them. They want to empty their soul into the world. They want to use every ounce of their ability. They want to scream their truth. They want to live loudly, fully, fearlessly. And that requires one thing: transformation. Destroying the version of you that's fake, afraid, and programmed. And becoming the version that's been whispering quietly inside you for years. Let me give you an example. Before he was Muhammad Ali, he was Cassius Clay, a kid from Kentucky. No one believed he would be great. He was mocked, hated, rejected. But inside, he knew, I'm not who they say I am. I'm who I choose to become. So he changed his name, changed his mindset, changed history. He didn't accept who he was told to be. He became who he was born to be. You weren't born to just pay bills, scroll all day, watch reels, follow rules. die quietly. You were born to create, to speak, to change something, to leave a mark, to burn with purpose. And if you don't do it, if you stay stuck, if you keep waiting, you're not just wasting time, you're betraying the real you. Ask yourself honestly, who am I becoming? Write down the version of you that you're afraid of, the average version. Now write down the version of you that would make your soul proud. Choose. Act. Because this is your life. And there are no replays. The 99% don't live. They exist. Repeat. Scroll. Complain. And disappear. But the 1%? They rise. They awaken. They bleed for their future. They refuse to settle. And they become legends. So now, ask yourself, will you join the 1%? Or will you watch this video and go back to sleep? The choice is yours. Let's end this video with truth. Not motivation, not hype, but honest truth, the kind that stays in your heart forever. Listen, this world doesn't need another average person. It needs you, the real you, the focused you, the powerful you, the version of you that's been buried under fear, excuses, distractions, and noise. And if this video reached you today, it's not an accident. You were meant to hear this, because deep down, you know you're not here to live like the 99%. You're here to rise, to lead, to grow, to build, to change, to inspire, to speak, to master your English, to master your life. So from this moment on, no more waiting, no more distractions, no more saying, one day. Let today be the first day of your 1% life. Because you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take the first step. And then the next. And then the next. Your future is not a mystery. It's a choice. And if you make that choice today, you'll look back 6 months, 1 year, 5 years from now and say, that video was the moment everything changed. If this video made you think, if it opened your eyes, if it made you feel something deep in your soul, then don't keep it to yourself. Comment below. I choose to live like the 1%. Share this with one person who needs to hear this message. Subscribe to this channel, because this is not just content. This is your community, your family, your safe place for growth. And remember, you're not behind, you're not late, you're not broken. You're just one powerful decision away from becoming the person you were always meant to be. Let's go. Welcome to your 1% life. Welcome to your future. Welcome home.